All right, day 21. Okay, day 21. We got a lot to go through. It says on day 21 in the Instagram category is when I finally was able to say that I my fashion style is just body. That's it. My fashion style is covered, but there is no doubt that my body is gas. And that means that I need to be in the gym. Okay? So that is the next goal. We got ourselves back into makeup. Now we need to get ourselves back on the treadmill. Okay? Now, um, in the TikTok category, I made a video about this on TikTok, so you may have seen it already. But it says it's 6 a.m. and I've already, because of a mutual, fallen down the political information rabbit hole. People are talking a lot. They are discontented with our society and how it runs and how it works. And as a person who has lived and worked and struggled from Section 8 to the very bottom of the projects that I once was so proud to call my home, I would be lying if I said that I did not understand. But I would also be lying if I said that I 100% understood or was prepared to embrace the concept of revolution. I can also, on record, say that I wholeheartedly believe that the average person who claims to be prepared for revolution has no idea what it would actually look like or how bad it could get. However, there are several things going on that I find very interesting, specifically in the way some people have chosen to pin themselves against others because the amount of awareness they feel they have, or on the inverse, feel others do not have. It seems there's already a bit of segregation between the woke and those the woke have decided are complicit or unaware. I have several thoughts and theories to be evaluated at a later date to both protect myself and my mind, but also to preserve this experiment in its authenticity. However, um, if this experiment works the way I think it does, and if in just 21 days after consuming the amount of media that I have without ever previously referring to myself as a city girl or claiming to be, I have mentally changed and physically changed enough that other people are referring to me as such. Theoretically, revolutionaries can be created from anyone. And as above, so below. If a revolutionary can be created, so can an unspeakable, person. And I use the word unspeakable person or like a terrible person because I don't know how the word YouTube feels about the word terrorist. Um, One of the things this experiment, mm, so cymatics obviously is the study of visible sound. In the way that I'm experimenting with it, am trying to see how specifically cymatics or sound affects a body and how fast sound media and such affect the mind. And essentially in that like paragraph, I was saying like if I can be changed from something like into something that I never claimed to be prior to an experiment in just 21 days, anyone can be turned into anything. And that should be terrifying. Um, right now, there are a lot of things going on with other countries and our country. And we are playing a very, very interesting role in conflicts going on with other countries. But a mistake that I think that some of our people, American people, are making is, I guess, not taking it seriously. For example, I saw somebody on TikTok say, like, they were making a joke, but they were like, it's so obvious that, the United States is losing the propaganda war. And I'm like, what would make you think that? And the fact that you think that means that we're not ready for revolution as a concept. But also on top of that, No, they're not. On the day 21 was also the day where I was about to make a video, right? And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm finna make this video. I'm finna post it. And I went to make the video where I said that long paragraph in or whatever. And I took my face off the camera. And it took me hours to go, like, why did you do that? But it's because in 21 days of consuming media, in just 21 days, I became apprehensive about how I present myself to the world physically. And looking back on that, or thinking back on that, it makes me think about when, I feel like it was France, but like a country. I don't want to like misquote any details or anything like that. I should have looked it up. But I remember distinctly years ago when I believe it was like the Kardashians were deep in their like Photoshop allegations era, and a country started like banning stuff, like banning them, like saying like younger kids don't need to see this because it's a negative image and this is influencing kids to want to do one thing or another to their body to try to aspire to be, you know, this body shape or this thing or this, you know, this way that they are not. And that is not healthy to be. And if I, as an adult who, in my opinion, ain't nobody's fool, and in my opinion is not easily impressionable, ew. Anyway, you know, but if that can happen to me, a fully grown adult, well, you know, with a formed frontal lobe as of a couple months ago, prefrontal cortex, you know, for like kids, you know, like for kids whose media intake is not being monitored, whose brains are not fully formed, who are definitely a billion times more impressionable than I would be. Like, how could you say that the United States is losing the propaganda war? Like, what I don't think people take into account sometimes is that, like, you know, the United States is losing the propaganda war, blah, blah, blah. They're only losing it with you, specifically. And people exactly like you. You're not their target audience. You know what I mean? Or whatever, like, if their audience is people who are more impressionable, who are likely to be or more actively carry out unspeakable acts in their name, if they are willing to sign up to go fight in places, in battles that they don't know nothing about, and not willing to go look up history to see if they even on the right side of a battle or anything like that, like, how could you possibly say that they're losing a war that you can't see because you don't want to? You know what I mean? And all of that should be very terrifying stuff. And I think that above everything else, this experiment is going to prove a couple things. One, that anyone can be turned into anything. Two, that we do not consent to everything that we consume. The way that my advertising experience has changed since I started doing this experiment is berserk. I talked a couple videos ago about how I used to be so through with St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And I remember it so very vividly because I saw it all the time. But it's because of the content I consume. Now that I consume the content that I can tell my algorithm believes is materialistic, because of the fact that, you know, there's skincare stuff going on, there's hypergamy stuff going on, there's, you know, maintenance routines, there's whatnot. I get advertisements for stuff I never saw, like the city girl content, and like how I'll be watching like stuff like that or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'm getting clothing brand stuff now, and it ain't like track suits, like, you know, workout stuff. It ain't like whatnot. It's like clothing stuff. Like, I'm getting like, the first time I saw an alcohol ad, I was like, interesting. Because, huh? Like, and then advertisements for stuff like smoke, like vape and whatever. And that's the stuff I don't even be doing. But it's a huge sorting hat. And that's what I referred to it as a couple videos ago. Like a couple videos. Why do you believe that the people who are interested in this specific content wouldn't be empathetic, or that they wouldn't care about St. Jude's Children's Hospital? Now, I found that commercial annoying on both sides of this experiment. But the fact that now that in this content that is no longer even shown to me. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw St. Jude's. But it's like paying attention to what is presented to you in terms of advertisement. It's almost like them. And I hate to be like going them because it makes me sound so conspiracy like minded, but what them, whoever the people are that are doing the sorting, believe about groups of people is like shown via that. And on the other day on TikTok, like I said, something along the lines of like, even though I am actively seeking out content, there are ideas being presented to me. Like, I'm seeking out the content, but they're in everything else, in everything around the content and everything laced within. There's more than just content being given to me. I feel like, I don't know. It's like, it's such a weird thing to try to word, or like a phenomenon, because I don't think I've ever experienced it in this way. But like, I don't know if it's subliminal, because I feel like I can see it, but it's like a shadow. Like, with all information I'm being given, there's like a shadow beneath it. Like there's something else coming to me with it. Even though like it makes sense. And I'm literally the person doing the experiment. So like it makes sense how it's happening. And I'm literally watching it happen to myself. But how did it take 21 days only for me to start to believe that the way I wake up in the morning is not enough to present myself to the world? You know what I mean? And right now, even though I am sick or whatever, like a video ago, we just talked about skin. Like we just talked about skin or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, the skin is skinning. So this video is going to be okay. How did that happen so fast? And that's what I'm saying. Like, we're not taking the kind of care with this type of stuff that we should. And that's where I believe it. To conclude day 21, in the notes section, I wrote about romance versus finance, love versus hypergamy, and how that had been heavy on my mind because of the fact that I had seen videos from Shira, but also on TikTok, of specifically women, debating about whether or not they felt like men were capable of love. And it's real interesting stuff, especially when you look at how love has been used historically to oppress women, but also how women couldn't like legally have a bank account until like less than 100 years ago, and way less for Black women. So it's really, really interesting. And then about whether or not you can expect men to cheat, if cheating is now something that you just got to charge to the game if you want to date a cis man. And that's a really interesting concept because, like, in one hand, like something we talked about on live literally last night was like, on one hand, is it unrealistic to expect somebody to be able to like uphold the boundaries that you want to uphold to? No. But on the other hand, do you personally know any woman who's been married for a long time and you can 100% confirm that they ain't never been cheated on? I saw a TikTok of this girl that was like, either you're going to have a man or you're going to have standards. Pick one. And it's so disrespectful. It's so sad to think about. But every girl in the comments was like, oh, like, girl, you right. Girl, you're right. Because I ain't never had both at the same time. And that is so sad. But at the same time, like, it almost feels like, like your favorite possibility versus reality. Like, your favorite possibility is that you both end up in a relationship, meaning you and a man, and y'all both hold up each other's, standards, and y'all don't have any problems and whatnot, and y'all are loyal. And then the reality says that this video has 100,000 likes on it, and it has 10,000 comments, and 8,000 of them got cheated on. So the odds are not in your favor. So I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about that. Of course, for myself, I couldn't picture having a marriage where, like, I'm like, well, they're necessary for financial, security. That's not what I want for myself. But at the same time, like, bruv, how is this a problem that every woman is experiencing at the same time right now? Like, what happened? It's kind of sick. Also on day 21. Day 21 was a lot. 21, can you do so for that? Anyway. Okay, on day 21 it says, today I want to figure out every physical thing I want to change about myself and do it. I want to find out what my style is, what my hair color suits me. I want to have my skin clear and well hydrated. I want to not walk out of the house and see people I know whilst looking anything less than perfect. I want a full transformation. And on day 21, right before I wrote that, I left the house. I'm doing, okay, cool, whatever, la, 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 la. Looking crazy after I had just heard Shira say, don't go outside looking crazy. What do? I go outside looking crazy. I saw like 5 people I know. And 2 of them at least. Ops. Like, how dare I go outside looking like something my enemies will rejoice over? Looking crazy. And even though I literally just sat here and said all of that about how there are negative things going on in our appearance and la la la, conspiracy. I can't go out like that. Like, what? I cannot go down like that. So, yeah. On one hand, yes, it is a mess, and the powers that be are oppressing us, and they are making us think that we're not enough. But at the same time, the ops witnessed you looking crazy. Stop it. It can't be me again. It just cannot be me. So let's move on. Okay, day 22. Now, day 22, 11/6/23. We're getting closer and closer to the date it is today. No remarks Instagram, no remarks TikTok, media. We watched a Shira video that day, and it says, honestly, this is what I need to work on. I am not easily irritated, but I definitely have a hard time letting go once I'm bothered. I get stuck in it. That's true. Finished all the other categories, and then it said, easy day, not feeling great though. The next day has no notes. I lied. Yes, it does. The next day shouldn't have had no notes because I ended up in the hospital that day, and it leads us to, that was the day right before the day I got stuck in the house, and I've been stuck in the house ever since. So 11/7/23, day 23. I watched the same video from the day before. I didn't do no news. I did all of that at like work or whatever. I was just doing cool, and then I was not feeling well. In the notes it says I ended up in the hospital. Apparently I have had a fever for days, and it's gotten a lot bigger. Like as the days went on, but also my health issue is bigger than the fever. I'm just tired of feeling sick. And again, another thing, like, it's not necessarily internet's business, but there is more than just the like general sickness I have going on with my body. In the notes it says, sometimes things align in such an interesting way. During the time when I feel like my mind is changing and expanding so much, I have a medical situation that lets me know it's time for my body to also transform and go on its own health journey. Is it a coincidence? I think not. And, you know, I don't know if it's a coincidence, and I don't know if it's not a coincidence, but what I do know is it's time to work. It's time to work on that for myself, for my body, for my health. There's a lot going on. And even though I'm not ready to talk about it, not ready to talk about it, you know, it will get dealt with. And I'm excited to see y'all on a journey with me. Okay, now the final note of that says, I am here, alone, tired, and unwell, taking care of myself because no one else does. I allow people to disappoint me and stay in my life. I allow people who don't come through when I need them to be around. I still come through for people who don't have my back when I need them. I'm here alone because I don't use people. I'm not self-serving. I've made people think I am strong and can deal with my distress on my own. And after this, it'll never happen again. If there's anything that I feel like has really, really changed on this experiment, and as you can probably see, has been a reoccurring theme in all of the videos that I posted today, it's that the individualism, the realizing that I am not the problem, the realizing that I've tolerated way more than I ever should have, the when I need help, it's not around, but when everybody else needs help, they expect me to be around. And that's what is, let me tell you, the city girls have good boundaries. They have great boundaries. You're not gonna play in JT face. You're not gonna play in so many different people's faces. And then, like, when we go back to like Cobra, which we just talked a little bit about with Megan, like, people played in her face at her most vulnerable. And that's what made her so sad. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, if you watch me on TikTok, you already know my opinions of Partisan Fontaine, Pendejo Fontaine, Panda Express Fontaine, Parmesan Fontaine, Petty Ass Fontaine. Like, oh, we hate that man. Oh, we hate cheating on a hot girl coach at her worst. How dare you? Guillotine. Just, like, I cannot stand that man. But anyway, the girls have good boundaries. And if anything, I'm going to say that their boundaries are rubbing off on me. Right now, I am sick. And it's not to say that nobody checked on me or nothing like that. But some of the people that I expected to, like some of the people that I let know that I was not well, the way that they reacted, I was like, oh, okay. And the way that I would have reacted, very different than that. Like, I am very, very like, I come through, and that's the best way to put it. I come through. And if you are not well, I almost take it as like a personal challenge. But also, then again, that's, you know, evidence of a problem, because I expect myself from other people, but also because I learned via no contact, like via writing out things and how they like happen and whatnot, that is one of my toxic traits. One of my toxic traits is that I overplay my role, because I see a need in someone's life, or I see like they don't have this, or they don't, you know, whatever. So I just start filling a role, or I start whatnot. But that then gives people the opportunity to later on be like, I never asked you for that. Or I never, you know, whatnot. And it's like, you can't be hurt about somebody telling you that they never asked you to do something that you felt like was on your heart, but they truly did not ever ask you to do. You overplayed your role. Take your L, move on. And I think that this is the end of my take your L, move on season, because I've mentally been taking, I mean, and physically, obviously, and, you know, been taking detailed notes about this is who is around me. This is who around me, and they show up. This is who around me, and they come through. This is who around me, you know, whatnot, and they work something. And this is who are along for the ride. This is who knew I wasn't well and didn't show up, or knew I wasn't well and couldn't do boom, 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 you know. And that's the end of that section. I think that specifically right there, if nothing else changed, that ain't never gonna change after this experiment. Never. And to be something I'm always working toward, or to be something I'm always like reminding myself of, like, you can't give out everything to everybody. Writing in no contact the other night, specifically about an ex like relationship situation I was in, like, I wrote out all of the things that were like my concerns for the relationship and what I thought. And it's something, it's a rotten whore. It's a bitch to realize that all of your concerns for entering a relationship were to protect that person, and then write down and go, all of the concerns that they told you that they had too were also to protect that person. So if they were protecting them and you were protecting them, no one was protecting you. Your best interest was never at heart. They were never concerned about you. It was always a them serving connection. And it was like that because you didn't have any boundaries. And that's what it is. And that's just all it is to it. I think that it is very, very, it's just been very honest. This has been a very honest journey. Because the city girls do a lot of things, but they don't lie. Especially not to the girls. To the girls, they don't lie. And I will always be thankful for so many parts of this. And we about caught up. We are about caught up. So now let's talk about what's going to change. For the next 30 days of this video, once we get to day 30, I will no longer be posting daily updates. The experiment is going to go quiet. It's going to go dark for a little while. The reason why is that up until this point, I have approached this experiment like a person who was doing an experiment. I have updated, I have documented, I have, all of that. So from this point on, you will need to be locked in with the Google Doc. I'm about to reformat the whole thing. If you are locked in with the Google Doc, you will see everything. There'll still be like the notes. I'll still be doing a checklist every day and writing little like, here. But there will no longer be videos where I'm sitting down and going, this is everything that I learned. This is everything and whatnot. And the reason why I feel like it's important to do it for a while without that is that I think that doing these videos pulls me out of the mental space where I'm just doing an experiment. And it puts me back in scientist mode. Like, it makes me feel like I'm watching myself instead of experiencing the experiment. I want to know now but even in being like going back and forth between the seats up until this point, so much has changed. So I really want to know how much will change if there's none of that happening. Like if there's none of the experiment, observation, and my analyzing myself over and over again, overanalyzing, trying to figure out what things mean, what's going to happen. And I'm very excited for this phase. Like this is the phase where I feel like we're really, really going to see what changes, So there's that. So thankful to everybody who has commented or sent me something or recommended an artist or anything like that. Like I'm very, very excited. I can't believe y'all have stuck through this with me now for 25 days. Like that's a long time. A lot can happen in 25 days. I know from personal experience, so yeah, mad love to y'all. I am about to create a link in bio situation so you can to make everything so much easier. Just make everything easier. If you want to send me a message, if you want to do anything like that, I'm about to really, really hook it up for y'all. I really, really value y'all's contributions, and I really, really value the people that have sent me emails, because I said a while back, if you got something to tell me, put me in an email, because there's so many notifications coming from different places. The people that have actually sent me emails to say anything, whether it was to recommend an artist, whether it was to just be like, hey, you're doing a good job, whether it was to just be like, I hope you feel better, anything like that. I am so very thankful for y'all. And we at over 500 subscribers, which is crazy on YouTube. And we had almost 100,000 followers on TikTok. Crazy. And we had almost 4,000 followers on Instagram. Again, crazy, because I hate Instagram and I'm never on there. But yeah, I love y'all, for real. The home girls, the home guys, And that's it for real. Love to y'all. Whoa, ew. I hate being sick. Like, I can never feel anything coming. Love to y'all. I'll see y'all probably tomorrow as soon as I hop back on TikTok. Probably tonight, truthfully. But, you know, you never know. Goodbye. Listen to my little raps and let me know what you think. Because I was going to say I worked really hard on them. I didn't. I did not. If it takes longer than an hour, I don't feel like it's meant to be. So if I work too hard on them, I'm like, no, throw it away. So, yeah, just listen to them because I want to know what you think. Let me know if it sounds authentic.